There's a certain kind of silence that settles over a house when the love is gone, but the routine hasn't figured it out yet. Every morning, I woke up at 6:15. Not because I was inspired, not because life was thrilling, but because three little people needed cereal, socks, and the illusion that Dad had it all under control. And maybe, once I did. I'm Logan, 38, husband, father, and an expert at taping together what shouldn't be falling apart. A man whose knuckles still bore the faint scarring of drywall conversations and steering wheel confessions. You could say I built this life with my hands. Unfortunately, I also ignored the cracks with them. My wife, Ashley, was beautiful in a way that made people ask what I did to deserve her. She had this smile that lit up rooms. And this laugh, warm, sharp, familiar. But lately, I noticed the warmth was for strangers, and the sharpness? That was reserved for me. Still, I didn't see it. I didn't want to. When we were 25, Ashley and I got married barefoot on a beach in Santa Cruz. When we were 26, we brought home our first child, Ella. Then came Ben. Then Micah. And for a while, I thought that was the dream. A messy house, a full calendar, and someone to share both with. But things shifted, subtly. The way a song slows down, and you're the last to notice the tempo changed. She started finding herself. Yoga retreats. Journaling. Long drives with no cell signal. And every time she came home, she was a little more distant. A little more packed. I kept working. HVAC by day. Janitorial shifts 3 nights a week. Never glamorous. Always necessary. I told myself I was being the rock. Funny thing about being a rock, people forget you're breakable too. One Wednesday night, I came home smelling like lemon cleaner and broken dreams. The kids were asleep. The house was dark, except for the kitchen, where Ashley sat sipping wine by candlelight. She didn't look up. I stood in the doorway, waiting. Got a minute? She finally asked, still staring at her glass. Always, I said. Lying. She gestured to the chair across from her. I've been thinking, she began. That phrase, I'd come to learn, never ended well. I need a reset. A reset. She nodded slowly, like she was pitching a podcast to a stranger. A new life, new city, new me, and us. I asked. No, she said softly, not us. I stared at the flame between us. It flickered once, like it heard and understood. You're leaving. She nodded. And the kids. That was the first time she hesitated. They're better off with you. You're the stable one. She kissed my cheek like we were old friends at an airport and walked out the front door, 2 bags in hand. The same heels she wore the day we first met, clicking down the steps like punctuation. And just like that, I was a single dad. By default. By betrayal. But I wasn't going to crumble. Not in front of them. Not yet. Life after Ashley was a strange kind of quiet. Not peaceful. Not serene. Just hollow. Like someone hit the mute button on everything that used to matter, and now I was raising 3 kids inside a sitcom set with no laugh track. Ella was 9 going on 30. She handled it the way I think Ashley expected, by stepping in where her mom stepped out. Ben, 6, kept asking when mommy was coming back from the big vacation. And Micah, barely 4, still pointed to the door every evening like he expected her to walk through it, purse swinging, humming some Lana Del Rey song she used to overplay when she was in her moods. She never did. I dropped the kids off at school every morning and went to work. HVAC repair isn't glamorous, but you get used to the routine. The hum of compressors, the hiss of busted pipes, the faint satisfaction of fixing what's broken, even if you're not allowed to touch what's really falling apart. Then I'd clock out, drive home, kiss 3 foreheads, reheat leftovers, answer impossible questions. Why do some moms stop loving? And then change into janitor blues for the night shift at Jackson Memorial. Funny thing, no one notices the guy mopping the hospital hallway. You become invisible, which suited me fine. I wasn't ready to be seen. One night around 2:12 a.m., I found myself scrubbing a coffee spill in the East Wing, listening to some nurse behind me vent on the phone. She left her husband and her kids, the nurse said, voice echoing slightly off the sterile walls. Said she needed to be free. Can you imagine that? I mean, free from what? I wanted to turn and say, probably from the guy who pays the bills, folds the laundry, and still thinks love means something. But I didn't. I just kept mopping. Because that's what I did now. I cleaned up other people's messes while living inside my own. The kids adjusted in their own weird ways. Ella started drawing more. She taped crayon sketches to the fridge every other day, stick figures of us. Her, the boys, me. Always smiling. Always four of us. Never five. Ben started calling me Super Dad, mostly because I fixed his toy helicopter with duct tape and prayer. Micah just liked sitting in my lap while I read bedtime stories I barely understood anymore. That was the rhythm. Not easy, but consistent. Then, a year passed. Quietly. Without flowers. Without postcards. Without so much as a birthday text. Ashley was gone like she'd never been here. Until she wasn't. It was a Friday. The kind of day that starts normal just so it can sneak up on you with a knife behind its back. Ashley texted me for the first time in 362 days. Not that I was counting. Dinner? Just us. Need to talk. I stared at the screen for a solid minute, then another 10. There was no hey. No hope the kids are well. Just a request, like she hadn't left 3 humans behind like forgotten luggage at a train station. I asked, is this about the kids? She replied, no. It's about me and you. I said yes. Against every gut instinct, every scar tissue nerve. Because sometimes curiosity is louder than pride. She picked the place. Fancy. Candlelit. The kind of spot where waiters wear ties and portions come with names like drizzled and reduced. I showed up on time. She didn't. When I walked in, I saw her already seated. She waved me over with the same smile she used to give when she wanted something expensive. I sat down, across from her. And him. His name was Chase. Of course it was. He had that sleeveless confidence kind of build, the tight shirt, the watch that probably cost more than my car. His arm draped along the booth like he owned the oxygen around it. Ashley's hand rested on his knee. Logan, she said, too sweet. This is Chase. I've mentioned him. Mentioned? She'd serenaded him in the lies she told before vanishing. The coworker who gets her. The one she'd never admit to texting at midnight while I was folding onesies and Googling how to treat ear infections. Chase smiled like a man who had never been punched for real. I'll make this simple, he said. You've got 2 options. I looked at Ashley. She didn't even blink. He continued. Leave quietly, or face me like a man. My brain took a second to catch up, then a second to calm down. Then I smiled. You want your teeth whole or in pieces? Before he could answer, I cleared the table, with his face. Wine glasses shattered. Silverware clanged. Someone screamed. I think it was him. Ashley shrieked. Logan, stop. You're embarrassing me. Embarrassing her. That's when I knew this wasn't the start of the affair. This was the final act. The curtain call. And I was invited just to clap. Security dragged me out, knuckles bleeding, pride intact. As they tossed me onto the pavement, I watched Chase's silhouette limping behind the frosted glass. Ashley trailed him, dabbing wine off her dress like it was the real victim. Back home, everything felt different. Her perfume still lingered, but it wasn't alone. There was a second scent. Strong. Musky. Male. I walked into our bedroom. The bed was perfectly made. She never made the bed. I sat down, pulled open her tablet. She never locked it. She thought I still trusted her. She was wrong. First photo. Her. Mirror selfie. Hotel robe. Nothing underneath. Timestamp. Last weekend. She told me she was in Sacramento. Baby shower. In the background, Chase. Shirtless. Brushing his teeth. I stared until my lungs forgot how to work. Video clips. Voice notes. Texts. I read until the words stopped being words and just turned into punches I couldn't throw. And then I saw it. One message. He still thinks we're working on our marriage. Poor baby. That line broke something. I closed the tablet. My hands shook, but my mind clear. This wasn't heartbreak. This was war. There's a strange kind of strength in knowing you've been lied to. At least the fog clears. At least you can stop wasting your time asking why, and start asking what now? Ashley didn't come home after the restaurant. Not that I expected her to. But when Saturday morning hit and her side of the closet was half empty, I knew the curtain had closed for real. No dramatic farewell. No goodbye to the kids. Just the familiar thud of betrayal, shutting the door behind it. I made breakfast that morning like usual, scrambled eggs, toast, orange juice, extra sugar in the cereal for Micah. Ella didn't ask where Mom was. Neither did Ben. They just ate. Quietly. Like their little souls had already adjusted to this new gravity. After I dropped them at school, I drove back home, changed into my janitor uniform, and looked in the mirror. I didn't see a man anymore. I saw a blueprint. Work. Save. Protect. I had no time for rage. Rage burns fuel you need to keep standing. So I gave myself a rule, 1 hour a week. That was all I allowed for grief. I'd sit on the porch after bedtime, pour one glass of whiskey, and stare at the sky like it might have answers. When the hour was up, so was the sadness. The rest of my time? I built. I fixed the leaky sink, repaired the broken gate, replaced the faulty wiring in the basement that Ashley used to complain about. Funny how silence makes you productive. The hospital night shift gave me time to think. Between floors, between spills, I'd replay conversations from the last 2 years. How many signs did I ignore? How many times did she laugh at Chase's texts while I packed lunches or chased down coupons? I wasn't a saint. I got tired. I stopped taking her on dates. I gained 15 pounds and wore the same hoodie 3 days in a row sometimes. But I loved her. I loved her. That used to be enough. No? I had 3 kids and an echo where my wife used to be. I started keeping a notebook. I wrote down everything I needed to teach them. How to tie a tie. How to change a tire. How to tell when someone's lying to you but smiling anyway. One night, after mopping the oncology wing, I came home to find Ella waiting up for me. She was curled on the couch, her sketch pad open in her lap. Couldn't sleep, she said. You okay? She nodded. I made something. She flipped the sketch pad around and showed me. Crayon drawing. For stick figures, 1 tall, 3 short. Underneath it, she'd written, "Me and Dad. Without Mom." My chest tightened, but I didn't cry. I just looked at her and said, "That's a good drawing." She smiled and went to bed. I sat there for a long time after that, staring at those words. Without Mom. That was our life now. A life built on the ashes of her new beginning. And the thing is, despite the pain, we were okay. The kids laughed again. They bickered over cartoons. They spilled milk, chased the dog, and slowly stopped asking when she'd come back. She didn't call, didn't text. No alimony, no check-ins. She vanished into a world of rooftop bars and filtered sunsets. Instagram stories full of fake enlightenment and real avoidance. Every now and then, someone would ask, "So what happened with you too?" And I'd say, "She got bored. I got the kids." It shut them up. Months rolled by. A year passed. The scars stopped bleeding. And then, like clockwork, she showed up again. Saturday morning. I was outside raking leaves. Micah was riding his bike in awkward, clumsy circles. Ella and Ben were drawing on the driveway with chalk. That's when I heard the engine. New car. Red. Sleek. Ashley stepped out like a ghost wearing designer sunglasses. "Logan," she said, too casually. Like we still shared morning coffee. I didn't speak. I just looked at her. She took off her sunglasses, eyes darting to the kids. I thought I'd stop by. Say hi. The kids didn't even look up. Micah pedaled by, glanced her way, and kept going. Ella kept drawing. Ben just squinted and said, "Dad, who's that lady?" Ashley flinched. I turned to him. "Just someone passing through, buddy." Her jaw tightened. "Really? That's how we're doing this?" "You walked out," I said. "We didn't." "I made a mistake," she said quickly. "No," I corrected. "You made a choice." She stepped closer. "I missed them. They stopped missing you." Ashley looked like she wanted to argue. But then she saw Ella's drawing on the driveway. Stick figures again. For this time. Same caption. "Me and Dad. Without Mom." She stared at it for a long time. Then she turned back to me. "You won't even let me explain?" I set the rake down. Walked over. Looked her dead in the eye. "You had a year to explain. You spent it posting selfies and brunch plates. You left a family. Not a party." She blinked. "I thought you'd understand. Eventually." "You thought wrong." She opened her mouth, maybe to cry, maybe to fight. I didn't care. "You should leave," I said. She turned, climbed back into the shiny red car, and drove off. The kids never asked about her again. And me? I went inside. I had a house to finish rebuilding. She left like she arrived, without asking. "No, can we talk?" "No, how are the kids?" No trace of guilt, or regret, or even basic decency. Just a puff of expensive exhaust and the hollow echo of her heels as she disappeared down our driveway. Again. But this time, something inside me stayed still. Solid. Ice instead of ache. Because I wasn't hoping anymore. I was preparing. There's a myth people tell you about heartbreak, that the worst part is the beginning. The discovery. The confrontation. The tears. False. The worst part is the quiet after the fire. When you've already seen the truth, already lived through it, and you're still left sweeping up the shards. That's where most people fold. I didn't. I sharpened. Ashley wanted to play the free spirit. I just needed to find myself routine. Good. Let her find herself with zero custody, no claim on the house, and a reputation that peeled off like bad wallpaper. See, the thing about janitoring at a hospital? It gives you access. People underestimate the guy holding the mop. They forget he hears everything. Doctors gossip. Nurses overshare. Admins leave folders unattended in break rooms. And if you sit still long enough, quiet, invisible, they'll talk right past you. So while I was scrubbing floors, I was listening. And when I wasn't listening, I was watching. Her social media was a gold mine of narcissism. Weekly affirmations, inspirational quotes stolen from Pinterest, and pictures that told a different story than the captions. There was the New Year, New Me post from Aspen. Except the date stamp on her photo didn't match the trip. She had reposted an old vacation. Why lie? Because she wasn't in Aspen. She was here, in town, with him. Chase made the mistake of tagging himself in a photo. Same day, same fire pit, same wine glasses in the background. And in the comments, someone wrote, "Glad to see you two back together." Back. Interesting. So they had broken up. I dug deeper. Turns out Chase wasn't a prize. No job. Just a branding consultant, with 3 business cards and 0 clients. He owed back rent in 2 counties. And rumor had it, he liked gambling. A lot. Perfect. See, Ashley thought she'd upgraded. But all she did was chain herself to an anchor with abs. The first step in any good revenge isn't rage. It's research. I started collecting. Nothing illegal. Just screenshots. Emails. Tax records. Public if you know where to look. Every lie she posted, every thread she tugged, I traced it back. She claimed to be consulting for a wellness startup. Turns out she was temping at a call center under her maiden name. Claimed to be volunteering at a children's shelter. That shelter closed 6 months ago. Every lie was a loose thread in her curtain of reinvention. And I pulled. Then I got practical. I called a lawyer. Quietly. Told him I wasn't after revenge. Just truth. He chuckled. They're the same thing if you do it right. We refiled for sole custody, this time with exhibits. School records showing I was the sole emergency contact. Medical forms. Signed report cards. Statements from the teachers about who showed up, who packed lunches, who kissed scraped knees. Spoiler, it wasn't the ghost in the red car. I didn't tell the kids. I didn't need to. They had already chosen. Ella stopped drawing the 5th figure. Ben stopped asking, when's she coming back? Micah, sweet Micah, started calling me Mom Dad. Like it was a single word. That one hurt and healed at the same time. A few weeks later, I got a tip. Chase had tried to start a YouTube channel, Alpha Ascend, or some nonsense. In one of his early videos, he rambled about relationships, leveling up, and taking back control. At the 3-minute mark, he dropped her name. Full name. Said she left her husband and kids because he didn't make her feel alive. I downloaded it. Archived it. That video, along with a few others where he bragged about dating a mom who abandoned her baggage, those went straight into the folder labeled Custody Leverage. See, it wasn't just about proving Ashley unfit. It was about showing who she'd chosen instead. Then, one Friday, I got the call. From the lawyer. You're going to want to sit down, he said. I'm standing. That close enough. He chuckled. She's trying to file for joint custody. I blinked. Excuse me. She says she's ready to be in their lives again. Claims you're withholding the kids. I laughed. Hard. The kind of laugh that shakes your ribs but doesn't touch your eyes. She hadn't sent a card. A text. Not even a crayon-scribbled apology. And now she wanted half. Not out of love. Out of fear. Fear that I might win. That I already had. I told the lawyer, let her come. Let her try. Because now I had more than pain. I had preparation. I had her words. Her boyfriend's videos. Her fake jobs. Her vanished year. She abandoned us. Full stop. No wiggle room. No comeback arc. But me? I cleaned floors. And built a case. Family court doesn't care about drama. It cares about evidence. And lucky for me, I had a year's worth stacked neatly in a digital folder labeled Resurrection. When the judge asked, why are you seeking sole custody? I didn't talk about feelings. I talked about facts. She abandoned the household. Had no contact for over a year. I have school records, medical forms, and financial documents showing I've been the sole provider. Ashley's lawyer tried to paint her as a mother rediscovering herself after emotional hardship. Hardship? She was tagging herself in rooftop cocktails while I was teaching our daughter how to braid her hair before school. Then they played their ace. Ms. Bennett would like to make a statement. Ashley stood. She wore beige like it was repentance. I know I made mistakes, she said. But I've grown. I've healed. And I want to be the mother my children deserve. I didn't say a word. Just handed my lawyer a USB. 5 minutes later, the court watched Chase's YouTube video. The one where he called my kids baggage. The judge blinked. Ashley blanched. I didn't smile. But inside? Checkmate. We won. Full custody. She got visitation supervised, once a month, if she requested it. Spoiler, she didn't. Maybe shame got to her. Maybe Chase did. Maybe they imploded. Didn't matter. The house was still full. Full of drawings, cereal bowls, toy cars, and chalk outlines on the driveway. Full of life. Ella started therapy. Not because she was broken. Because I wanted her to know it's okay to talk. Ben joined Little League. I was that dad, cheering too loud, filming with shaky hands. Micah learned to read and announced it by standing on the coffee table yelling, "Dad, I decode words now." We baked cakes that collapsed in the middle. We built a fire pit out back and told ghost stories that made no sense. We laughed. Not because everything was okay, but because we were okay anyway. She came back one more time. It was mid-fall. Leaves crisp, air cold. I was cleaning out the garage when I heard the knock. Ashley. Same red car. Different face. No makeup. No smug smile. Just empty eyes and a manila envelope. I signed over parental rights, she said, voice thin. I blinked. You didn't have to. I know, she cut in. I wanted to. She looked past me toward the house. They're happy, she said quietly. I didn't answer. She held out the envelope. I took it. Our hands didn't touch. I wanted them to have peace, she said, even if it meant not having me. Then she got in her car and drove away for good. Ella came home from school a week later with something in her backpack. A new drawing. For stick figures again. But different. Taller now. More detail. Me. Her. Ben. Micah. And under it, in big block letters. Us. Whole. No, without Mom. No labels at all. Just us. I stared at it for a long time. Then I put it on the fridge. Right in the center. A year passed. Then another. The silence never felt so calm. One day I got a call from a mutual friend. Hey, they said awkwardly. I thought you'd want to know. Chase? He's gone. Left her. Took her savings with him. Word is she's living with her aunt in Fresno now. I just nodded. Thanks. Then I hung up and made dinner. Spaghetti night. Micah's favorite. As I stirred the sauce, I realized something. I never got revenge. Not the kind you read about. No fire. No explosion. No courtroom mic drop. But I had taken something from her. I took back the life she tried to ruin. I raised the kids she gave up on. I rebuilt the home she abandoned. And when she finally came crawling, asking to return, I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just showed her the door. And the best part? The real revenge wasn't her losing. It was me not needing her to.